Welcome to I Am the Cute One, the most chaotic school dance in the podcast universe.
Listen, you got through the week like we got through 9/11.
And a recession.
And the Special K diet.
And the time that James Franco hosted the Oscars.
And Ben Platt's wig in Dear Evan Hansen.
TGIF. Hello, I am Chelsea and I am the cute one. And I'm by myself. Oh God, I don't know where to look. I wasn't going to wear my glasses today. I don't want to be staring at myself, but I don't want to be like Ramona-izing the camera. So this was going to be my unstripped acoustic tiny desk on NPR version of me without my sunglasses. But I just think that nobody needs to see how much my eyes flicker as I talk, as I'm trying to like grasp onto a seed of an idea that I want to try to form into a sentence. Does that make sense? So let me try this again. Let's take it from the top. I might just keep all this in to let the people know what they're in for. But hello, I'm Chelsea and I'm the cute one, and I'm by myself today. We originally had planned for this to be the big sobriety episode. We've been teasing it. We've been joking about monetizing his pain and his recovery and his story. And he gave me permission to share this. Donnie's going through it right now. He's having some weird medical stuff going on, weird stuff that we don't have answers for right now. So I'm really proud of him because you know how Donnie and I both feel about the doctors, and he's had to go to a bunch of them lately. So we gave him the day off. There's a trash truck outside my house. Patreon cuties, I'm going to be honest, this might be one, if you are at the upper levels and you get the uncut, unedited versions of these shows, this might be a day that you just listen to the edited version because I can't guarantee what it's going to be like behind the scenes for today. I say this all the time. I don't know how people who have solo podcasts consistently put out content that is so great and funny and wonderful and coherent. It is such a skill set. I say this at the top of every time I am recording an episode solo, but the Hannah Aaron Browns of the world, the Danny Pellegrinos of the world, people who can just get behind a mic and talk and it makes sense and it have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I very much need the guardrails of Donnie, which is an unhinged thing to say. As I'm saying it, I'm recognizing how crazy of a sentence that is, that Donnie is guardrails for me. But when I'm talking to somebody, we can be taking loop-de-loops and we can be taking a roller coaster ride off of an exit of a highway, but we always get back on the highway. The problem with doing a solo podcast is I don't have anybody to hold me accountable to be like, hey, Chels, remember when you started this story about this thing and now we're talking about roller coaster rides and taking exits off of the highway? All that to say, Donnie's going through it. So he got the day off. I told him I would hold it down. I would answer the ask us anything questions that pertain to me. And then maybe we'll do a part 2 when he has some answers and when he is back recording. So just a heads up, we will be doing a re-release on Monday of a past episode. It's a wonderful time. It is going to be a replay episode of The Holiday with one of our favorite guests, Ryan. He is just a delight. We need to have him back on. But if everybody could do me a favor, even if you don't plan on listening to the episode all the way through, if you've already heard it and you're like, nope, I'm good, could you please make sure you listen to at least 5 minutes of it? Things like that really boost our algorithm and help us get more ads, help us get more listeners. I know it is the holiday season, so money is probably a little tighter than usual. So there are many, many ways you can support us without having to spend a dime. The quickest way is leaving a comment on our YouTube. If you think of the algorithm on YouTube, a like on every video would be like a +1, but a comment is like a +5. So just, gamifying, engaging with our content. If we come across your Instagram feed, sending it to a friend, leaving a comment, all of the things that boost our numbers. If you haven't left a review yet, leaving a 5-star review, sliding into the DMs of your other favorite podcasters saying, hey, have Chelsea and Donnie on, they're super fun, or go on their show. We're trying to grow our show, but also just with the uncertainty of what Donnie is going through right now, we are potentially going to be dipping into our Patreon funds to help him with medical bills because, as Childish Gambino once said, this is America. So sorry to start out the post-Thanksgiving TGIF with a capitalist agenda pitch, but just want to be transparent about the fact that like you might be hearing more ads in the main feed. We might be encouraging you, if you've been thinking about subscribing to the Patreon, to do so now. We are just trying to get our ducks in the row in the hopes that we don't need to have our ducks in the row. And also, don't DM Donnie. He's going to be okay, but don't DM him and like bother him right now about this stuff. Send him chaotic things. Tell him what Muppet you want to have sex with. You know, the usual. Keep it light and fluffy over there. So, shall we begin? Again, this is when I need Donnie. We are such a magical pair because this is where he would usually have like a beautiful Google Doc where he has curated all of the Ask Us Anything questions just in one little list that we could just go off of. But instead, I've got my phone, I've got Patreon pulled up, and I guess we'll just answer some questions here. So a Patreon subscriber asked, what would you tell your 26-year-old self? Sincerely, a spiraling 26-year-old. 26 is tough because, yeah, I'm trying to think of what I was doing when I was 26. Probably being a hot ass mess. Oh, I'm 36 now. Oh, okay. Taking myself back. Time machine, 10 years. I would tell my 26-year-old self, it's not that serious. I think that 26, your late 20s are hard. I have loved my 30s so much more than I loved my 20s. I feel like your 20s are hard, and especially for people who have gone to college. I don't know what your situation is, but our whole lives were like mapped out for us of like, you go to elementary school, then you go to middle school, then you go to high school, then sometimes you go to college, or you might go to a trade school, or you might like have to get that job. And it's like planned out of like what you do, what you have access to, what your family has told you is what's happening next. So then you get to your late 20s, and it's the first time that I feel like we experience true free will. And I think reminding yourself that you have free will, like that's still, and this is so unhinged of me to say, but reminding myself that I have free will is still like my number one self-care hack. Of just like reminding myself, like if I wanted to buy a plane ticket and fly off to Bora Bora and abandon my family tomorrow and start a life as a nanny for walruses, I could. I might not be successful at it. I might not have any money left. I might realize that I've abandoned my whole family and I immensely regret that decision. I may blow up my whole life, but like I can do that. And I think your late 20s, if you feel like you are floundering or you feel like you are spiraling, that is part of the process. So I think reminding yourself, like most of the things that you are worried about right now, if there's a feeling of like should in it, then chances are, to quote the women of The Bachelor, you're not here for the right reasons, right? So if the stress that you're putting on yourself is coming from a place of should, like I should be doing this, I should have my life together more, or I should have a higher paying job, or I should be in a relationship, or I should be thinking about kids. Anytime it comes from a place of should, it's not actually what you want. It's what you feel like society or your family or your friends are projecting onto you for what is next. So I think that what's really beautiful about, are you a millennial? Or are you Gen Z? I don't know. I can't do math. I think what's really beautiful, specifically, I think that our cool older cousins, Gen X, started this trend. I think that millennials picked up the torch. And now I am seeing like a coming around of Gen Z of like, oh, we gave you a lot of shit, but you are cringe and you are free. I think the really cool thing about the latest rounds of generations is that we are not adhering to the cookie cutter timeline of things. And I think it's really cool that our generations are accepting that we are all kind of in different phases. And it can be really disorienting. 26 is very disorienting because you have some friends who are still blackout drunk Thursday through Sunday, raging at bars, hooking up with strangers, living their best like post-college life. You have some friends who are like trying to get pregnant on purpose and like buying a home and having a 401k. Now, realistically, I don't know if any millennial has a 401k. And if you do, please consider patreon.com/I'm the cute one, because clearly you're rolling in it. What was I saying? Oh, so I think that it is particularly disorienting when your friends are all at different stages, and it can feel like a lot of pressure to be keeping up or to be evaluating like, well, where do I rank in this, or where am I compared to other people? I think there is something to be said about the fortune cookie message of comparison is the thief of joy. I think reminding yourself it's not that serious, and then checking in with yourself and asking, like, what do I want right now? What are the things that are making me happy? Where do I want to focus my attention? What is the next step that I want to go after in my life because I want to go after it and not because somebody is telling me I need to go after it? I feel like I am not somebody who has a lot of regrets. I don't know if it's just because I have a terrible memory or because my brain is just firing in so many directions that I don't often look backwards. But the times that I have made choices that, looking back, were out of alignment of what I actually wanted and were more in alignment of like what I quote unquote should be doing are the things that I look back on and I'm like, if I could do a do-over, like I probably wouldn't have taken that job, or I wouldn't have missed that wedding because I was worried about my PTO. That's the other thing. Take days off. It is not that serious. The building is not going to burn down without you there. And if it does, that means that they probably need to hire some people to support you, because it should not be that you take a day off work and everything crumbles. That's not sustainable. So my 26-year-old self, yeah, I think at the end of the day, my advice would be it's not that serious. And if things feel hard right now, it's okay. I think for a lot of people, it feels hard at 26. I hope that helped. Okay. Another Patreon cutie asks a two-parter, so I'll start with the first one. Any thoughts on how to build self-confidence? I really admire that in both of you and how you seem to like fully know who you are. Thank you. I think faking it till you make it. I know that's cliche. I know that seems like you're lying to yourself, but I do feel like confidence, half the battle is lying to yourself. I think that like noticing what is your brain telling you and what story are you telling yourself that is becoming your reality. So if all day long you're telling yourself that you're weird or people don't like you, or I want to start this hobby, but I would be bad at it, or oh my gosh, I'm so awkward. If you're telling yourself that narrative all day long, it becomes your reality, and whatever you're beating yourself up over becomes that much bigger of an obstacle. I think that if you are insecure about something that you want to improve on, like if it is something that you want to do self-work on and it feels like something that you need to talk to a therapist about or share about or work on, then I think cutting yourself slack and reminding yourself that if you are working on that thing, you are taking steps to feel better about it. So I feel like a lot of times there is this idea of like you need to have done the thing to be feeling proud or good about yourself for it. Like I think about it as, I don't know, like getting into shape, let's say. And there can be this idea of like, okay, I want to get into shape, so I'm going to work out 6 days a week and I'm going to run at least 2 miles a day. And then I'm going to do weightlifting and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. And you start out like so intense that like, of course, that's not sustainable. And you might do it for a week, but then you're going to fall off and then you're going to feel even worse about yourself because you've set these goals that now you're actively not meeting. Whereas I have felt, and I'm just using working out as an example because it's the first thing that popped in my head, but this could apply to anything. This could apply to making more friends or being more social or feeling more confident in a work setting or giving a presentation and public speaking. It's like whatever your goal for yourself is, acknowledging that any steps you're taking to improve in that area, like giving yourself credit for that. Because I've always noticed, going back to the example of working out, I feel the best about myself when my goal is like, okay, I want to move my body more. I'm not even going to put parameters on it. And I am going to give myself a little pat on the back, like, oh, I just walked Aunt Becky around the neighborhood. I just took a yoga class. Oh, I just ran around the backyard with Coco and Sapphire. Those things all count. And I think also noticing your internal voice and asking yourself, like, are you being a hype man for yourself or are you being a bully? Because I think a lot of times the voice in our head, the call is coming from inside the house and we are our biggest bullies and our biggest ops. And the shit that we say to ourselves, we would never, ever, ever in a million years say to our best friend who is going through a similar situation. So sometimes if I can't snap myself out of like a shame spiral or a negative self-talk moment, I will, and I don't know if this is like weird of me, but I will talk out loud and I will give myself advice the way I would give to a best friend because I'm good at giving advice. I'm not good at taking it. Oh, also I want to give the disclaimer. This is all unqualified advice. So take with it what's helpful, leave what isn't. And if it feels like it's still not scratching that itch, see a professional, talk to somebody with credentials who can like help you through it. But I will literally talk out loud to myself. I will give the advice as if I'm giving it to a friend, because to me, I might say, you dumb lazy bitch, you said you were going to walk around the neighborhood today and here you are scrolling on Instagram. What is wrong with you, you absolute nincompoop? I would never say that to my best friend. But if I say it out loud to myself, I might say like, hey, you don't have to go all the way around the neighborhood. Why don't you just get out there? I know that's a goal that you've been working on. It doesn't feel like Instagram Reels are doing it for you right now. Like, do you want to try again? The day isn't over. Do you want to just get outside and move your body real quick? Because I know that's your goal and I know that you're really motivated. But if you're too tired and today was tough and the kids were on your back, like if you need a minute to decompress and today isn't that day, that's okay. But the option is there. Does that make sense? Like it's just a different feeling. All right, I'm going to do a part 2 because my mom just got here.
Cuties, you may have heard of HelloFresh. They're the #1 meal kit in America, making home cooking easier with chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. But this fall, they're serving up even more to love. This isn't the HelloFresh you remember. It's bigger. HelloFresh has doubled its menu. Now you can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Dig into bigger portions that'll keep everyone satisfied. It's healthier. Feel great with an even healthier menu. Choose from 15 plus high-protein recipes each week with options like grass-fed ribeyes or lamb chops. HelloFresh now helps you eat greener with new veggie-packed recipes that have 2 or more veggies per dish. And it's tastier. Get steak and seafood recipes delivered every week for no extra cost. Now with 3 times the seafood options. Savor the season with hearty fall recipes like classic beef chili or honey glazed pork tenderloin. Discover new seasonal produce each week, from leeks to broccolini to Italian eggplant and more. I cannot get enough of HelloFresh. You know, the last time I went to the grocery store, the electric was out. I fully told myself, today I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to go to the grocery store and not order fast food. I arrived at the grocery store as planned, and the electric was out. And they told me, sorry, no one can come in. So what did I do? I went home and ordered fast food. Now, if that would have been a week I had HelloFresh, I could have went home and made HelloFresh. So guess what this week is? A week I had HelloFresh. I'm not falling for this grocery store blackout ever again. You can't get me twice. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/cute110fm now to get 10 free meals and free breakfast for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/cute110fm to get 10 free meals and free breakfast for life.
Okay, part 2 of this question was also, you don't have to name them, but can you give hints about who was the worst guests on the podcast or talk about why they were lacking as a guest? You guys are so messy. We get a version of this question every time we do an Ask Us Anything. Again, where your attention goes, energy flows, or whatever is on those Yogi tea bags. We've had so many wonderful guests on. We've made so many friends through the podcast. We have met so many chaotic people who make us feel less alone and crazy because they're wackadoodles out there also. So I want to focus on first some amazing guests that we've had. Of course, we've got the Kendricks, we've got the Noors, we've got the Tom Hamlet of Dumpster Dive and Good Judies. We've got our besties of the people that we have on again and again. A good rule of thumb is if we've had a guest on more than once, that means we're obsessed with them. If we've only had a guest on once, that might just mean that they have since blown up and like we haven't been able to coordinate having them back. I will say there are 2 types of bad guests. One type of bad guest is somebody who presents a certain way on social media. And so we see their content and we incorrectly assume that their content reflects their personality, and then they get on the podcast and there is nary a personality to be found. So that's one type of guest. And those episodes actually usually turn out pretty awesome because Donnie and I are little tap dancing monkeys. And as soon as we notice that a guest isn't matching our energy goes through the roof and we're like, da 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 da. So a lot of times our most chaotic stories and energy, like it almost becomes a bit where we are trying to out crazy ourselves because we're almost forcing our guest to play the straight man in an SNL sketch, if that makes sense. Like we recognize like, oh, this person is either like super concerned with public perception or this person actually doesn't have hot takes and is just regurgitating tweets at us, or this person, God love them, super sweet, not funny. So when we recognize that, we assign them the role without their permission or consent as like, okay, well then you are the straight man. You are representing the everyday man, the normal person, and we will be a foil to that by being absolutely batshit crazy. So that's one type of bad guest. And then the other type of bad guest that we've only run into a couple of times is people who assume that because Donnie and I are problematic in certain ways, it means that we are aligned or co-sign being problematic in other ways. Does that make sense? Like Donnie and I know that we are garbage goblins and we know that we say things that are not appropriate, but we pride ourselves in that when it comes to things that matter, those are not things we joke about, or if we joke about them, it is shining a light to something that aligns with our morals and values. And I think that because people are so buttoned up and people are so concerned with like being politically correct or saying the exact right thing all the time, our reckless behavior, which I wouldn't even call reckless, I would say like intentionally chaotic behavior, is kind of like poking fun at the seriousness of everybody and the way that everybody is so buttoned up. But unfortunately, because that is where the pendulum currently is, people will equate our show with a different type of vibe. Are you catching what I'm putting down? People will equate us being problematic and willing to say jokes that maybe elicit a groan. They equate that with a certain set of morals or values or like shaking the fist at woke culture. So we've only had we are pretty good about the vibe check and about getting a good grasp of a guest before we have them on. But I think that's happened like twice where we've had somebody on and like halfway through, me and Donnie are like having an E.T. Eliot ESP conversation of like, we got to wrap this up because like this person is making it seem like we are co-signing things that we do not co-sign. So I'll leave it at that. Hopefully that wets your whistle for some drama. Let's go to some from the Instagram. Ooh. Okay. Dream blunt rotation. Well, I don't smoke the devil's lettuce anymore. I know that that may not fit with the schema, the persona that I've put on, but it just makes me paranoid. It slows down my brain too much and I get to thinking, and not everybody should have access to thoughts. I think that whatever percussion set, drumline, Nick Cannon, boom, bada boom, bada boom, is going on in my brain, beep bopping around, it should stay that way. I don't need to slow down and get mental clarity and start thinking about the state of the world and the state of the universe and whether or not there are aliens and whether or not I'm fucking up my children's lives, you know? Sometimes it's best for dumb people to just stay dumb. But my dream blunt rotation would be, are we bringing people back from the dead? I'm bringing people back from the dead. Joan Rivers, Bob the Drag Queen, Amy Poehler. Pretty good one. I would just be laughing and laughing. I'd be having myself such a time that I wouldn't be thinking about the state of the world. Fuck, marry, kill. The Mary-Kate and Ashley version of the podcast. The books version of the podcast, and the movie version of this podcast. Yeah, so for those who are new to the show, welcome. I hope I haven't scared you off with my one-woman show. We started out as a Mary-Kate and Ashley podcast. All of that old audio is available on Patreon, patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. It is so sweet to go back and listen to it, because it does feel a little bit like looking back on, and I guess this is apt given the logo of our podcast, but it does feel a little bit like looking back at like old childhood photos or like old school pictures where you're just like, aw, look at that little sweetie. She was so young. She didn't know anything. It's so sweet because you can hear in real time me and Donnie becoming best friends. And I think that's really special. I'm sorry that this is such an emotional episode, but not many people have the ability to have their friendship recorded. Like, our friendship progression is completely recorded, where we go from telling each other stories for the first time and having those genuine reactions of like me never hearing the pirate ship story or me never hearing the plunger situation debacle that he shares in the American Pie episode. Like, we go from telling each other stories for the first time to then progressing to telling each other the same stories and, you know, both of us reacting like it's our first time because both of us are idiots. But also now for episodes to be like planning like what he's going to do when he visits next and like what my daughters think about him. And like, it's just really special to go back to those early episodes where, again, it does sound like we are recording from a tin can underwater in a cave. But that's what's really cool about it too, is like every once in a while I will screenshot some of our old like promo posts from that era. And we thought we were killing it. Like, we thought we ate with those promo posts with like just the graphics and the video that looked like we were recording from a Razor flip phone in 2007. Like, just, you could not see anything. Gretchen Rossi, who? I didn't have a nose in some of those videos. All that to say, I would kill it. I would kill it. I cherish that time. We wouldn't be here today without Mary-Kate and Ashley and that part of the podcast, but I would kill it because, number one, not sustainable. Not that much Mary-Kate and Ashley work when you really get down to it. Not now that we are, like 300 episodes in? What would we be covering? Probably the paparazzi pics now that they have resurfaced, which is a recession indicator. The fact that Mary-Kate and Ashley are just beep-bopping around in public now, recession indicator for sure. But I would mercy kill it. I would cherish it. It would be like, oh, this is the latest rabbit hole I've been on TikTok. The Swedish death cleaning model, where Swedish people, they reach a certain age and they start going through their house. And there's like, it's kind of like Marie Kondo, where there are certain rules associated with like, do you keep it? Do you put it away? Do you give it to somebody? But it's a way to like clean out your house so that when you die, your loved ones don't have to go through all of your shit. So, you know, the Swedes, so considerate. But I think that I would do the Swedish death cleaning model on the Mary-Kate and Ashley episodes. I would hold respect for it. I would appreciate it for what it brought us. And then I would say, but nobody wants to inherit this. This is going to Goodwill. Again, patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne if you want to listen to that. I would fuck the book episodes because I think a little quick and dirty, we were in and out. I think those episodes are some of our most unhinged just because it scratched our brains in new ways. It made us have to get creative in a different way. Not that the movies get formulaic, but we definitely get into like a groove of it. And I think that the book episodes made us kind of shake out of that routine. Also, one of the silver linings for the book episodes, and this is crazy to think about, when we first started our movie portion of our podcast, we had a guest every single week, which, number one, just logistically, I don't know how we were doing that. That's Donnie's job of like booking guests. And I don't know how he was coordinating that every single week. That's crazy to think about. But the book episodes, because we were like, we cannot in good faith, like ask somebody to read an entire book, even if it's at a third grade reading level, like we cannot in good faith make somebody read a book to talk to us for 30 minutes about it. So we stopped having guests every week. And I do think that that was a huge, in a weird way, now that I'm reflecting on it, I haven't put these pieces together before, but I do think that that was a big turning point for our podcast because it really became about me and Donnie's relationship. Because that's the beauty of this podcast, not to toot our own horn, but toot toot. The beauty of our podcast is like, it's not about the shit we talk about or the shit that we're pretending to cover. It's not about the movie and it's not about the headlines that we pretend to read. It's just about me and Donnie's friendship. And I think that that takes so much pressure off of us because God love them, but like my friends that are in the reality TV Bravo space still, it is so much work. It is so much work for them. And it sounds silly to say of like, but they're just watching shows. But like, you have to be on top of all the shows. You have to have opinions about all of those shows. You have to be ready to defend your opinions about all those shows. And there are going to be people who tell you you are wrong about those opinions about all the shows. Whereas truly, I think that book portion of this podcast, it got us to a place of like, okay, we're talking about Judy Blumes forever, but like, we're not really. We're going to just try to like one up each other on horrifying sex talks that we've had with our parents, you know? And then based on this question, I would marry the movie podcast. But can I be honest for a moment? I actually would marry TGIF. That was something that our network, Cloud 10, shout out to Cloud 10, suggested that we do, of just trying to like open the market for people that might not be interested in movies. Because on paper, we are a movie podcast. Now, you know, I know, everybody who's listened to the podcast knows we're not a movie podcast. We don't know what we're talking about. But by having a pop culture roundup, the hope was to get new listeners who might be interested in that portion of it. And those episodes have become my favorite things to record because we get to really pick and choose what we want to talk about, but then also we get to talk about our lives. And you know, I am nothing if not a narcissist. And I love talking about myself. Is there anything that you regret sharing publicly? My answer should absolutely be yes, because I overshare in a way that is not okay on this podcast. Both Donnie and I, something happens when we hit record and we get behind this microphone where we really feel like we are just yucking it up with our gal pals at brunch. But no, there are thousands of you that listen to us each and every week. Thank you for listening. The things that are hot button issues in my life, I am very intentional about how I share. And so like one of my boundaries is, for as much as I talk about Sapphire and Coco because they are the main part of my life, right? Them and Dr. Bald and AB now, I try not to make them the punchline. I try to make it through the lens of my experience parenting them. There have been times where I've cut stuff or I've been like, I feel like that I didn't need to say, or I try to think about like what future them will say or feel if they were to like listen back on how I talk about them. So I always try to make it clear that I'm coming from a place of admiration and shock at their chaoticness. Fuck it. Let's go for it. I have talked about this. I think anytime I'm on a solo episode, I'm like, sure, let's talk about it more. I don't regret things I've shared, but I do regret my approach when I first started my account. The way that the heart sunglasses came about, I used to wear a wig too, if you guys recall, but I made it a very big deal that I was trying to be anonymous. I'm going to make this part a Patreon exclusive just because I'm going to share my like quote unquote real person job. And that doesn't need to be for everybody, but it applies. And for the main feed cuties not on the Patreon, just know that that was a big reason of why I wanted to be anonymous. So I was trying to separate my professional life with the chaotic goblin I was being on the internet. But I have since had the realization that I am both. I am really fucking good at my job, and I am also a chaotic goblin. And it was actually Dr. Bald who really helped me kind of reconcile that and make me more of like a whole person of like, I can be both and neither one takes away from the other side of it. Like, what people do when they clock out is none of your business. If a teacher has a bartending job for extra money, you're not going to be like, well, you're not a good teacher because you serve Bud Lights at night. And if you do think that, then go fuck yourself, right? But all that to say, I regret the shroud of mystery I put on myself because I would say things like, just because of my profession, I'm trying to be anonymous. I'm not going to give my last name. I'm not going to say Chelsea Rivers. I'm not going to show my eyes. I'm not going to show my hair. What color hair do you think I have? Like, I was just really weird about it. And I think that in trying to remain private, I gave people a mystery. And I think that if we've learned nothing from famed detective and novelist J.B. Fletcher of Murder, She Wrote, people are going to solve a mystery. And so I think I unintentionally manifested a lot of eyes on me and a lot of people wondering about me. And the weirdest thing that happened to me was there was a group of Instagram accounts that are still active today in the Bravo community who got together, did not like me, which is fine. I am not for everybody. I recognize that. I'm annoying as shit. I annoy myself, so I know I must annoy other people. But there was a parasocialness to it where, like, one of the people who I truly did not know their name later on said she had been, like, talking to her therapist about me. So they all had, like, a one-sided relationship with me that I was not aware of or participating in. So it escalated. They created a burner account. They started posting things that were alluding to Dr. Bald's workplace. They were posting cryptic things about where I went to college. They were then talking shit about the podcast, which then I was like, okay, so like you just hate me and you're like really just choosing every which way to hate me. But it got really weird. One silver lining through all of that was that I really like hunkered down on like, okay, who are people that are like actually my friends? And who are people that are just people on the internet? And that's when I got really close to Tom and Kix and Kendrick, Amanda, Donnie, obviously. Like, that's when that little crew formed because they were also like, what the fuck? This is really weird. And it was just a really, like, felt really unsafe and felt really unnecessary. I think a lot of us in COVID and in 2021 just had too much time on our hands. We were all struggling and creating chaos and all of that. But eventually, that little group had a falling out, and one of them like admitted what the other people had done, but like in doing so was also implicating her. And my thing is always like, if you come to me and you say, this person said this, and this about you, and me and her in a fight now, so I'm telling you, for me, that doesn't extend an olive branch of trust. For me, I'm like, okay, so you're in a fight with this person and now you're coming forward with this. Also, like, what were you saying that that person felt so comfortable saying or doing X, Y, and Z? So I guess to answer your question, it's not what I regret sharing. It's that I don't think I needed to be so extra about showing that I have brown eyes, you know? And looking back, I probably wouldn't have made it such a big deal. But it was a great lesson for me. And I'm glad I went through that then and not now when my account has grown and this podcast has grown, because it was a good hard initial lesson to me that like not everybody's going to like me and nothing I do or say will change that, and that's okay. And also it gave me kind of like a front row seat to the parasocialness of it, because I was gobsmacked when this person shared like, you know, I've been talking to my therapist, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I did not know your name. Like when I refer to you as your account name. I don't know. It was a really weird fucking situation. Like so weird. So weird. And they're all still active to this day, which is fun. So the rest of the questions I want Donnie to be here for. I hope this was okay. I know it wasn't as funny as our shows usually are. I think I'm in a weird headspace. It's the holidays. Donnie's going through his shit. My mom showed up halfway through this recording and is like doing yard work in my backyard right now. So I got to go help her do that. I don't know. Things are weird. If you are listening to this and Thanksgiving has just happened, I hope it was a drama-free, great holiday for you. If it wasn't, take care of yourself, be nice to yourself, give yourself a little treat, give yourself a little hug. So we will be back on Monday with an old school holiday episode and then back to our regular programming. We are about to start our Gossip Girl coverage over on the Patreon. We'll probably do like part 2 of this Ask Us Anything on the Patreon, finally get to Donnie's sobriety episode, and then we're going to jump into Gossip Girl. I've never seen Gossip Girl, so I am very much looking forward to that. I think I'm going to love it. Fingers crossed, because I've signed up for this. And yeah, if you are looking for stocking stuffers, etsy.com/shop/I am the cute one podcast. We have all of our merch and funny ornaments, candles, etc. over there. Hopefully we'll be adding to that. You can gift somebody a Patreon subscription if you have a chaotic bestie who listens to our show, patreon.com/I am the cute one. But again, the easiest, freest way to support us is by leaving 5 stars on our show, sharing our show with a friend, and then commenting over on our YouTube. So thank you guys for being here. I hope this was okay. Happy holidays. Gobble gobble. And I will talk to you later. Hi, it's me. It's later in the day. I completely forgot our guy, Donnie, sent me a video for me to share with all of you. He said it was a very important message for me not to watch until I played it. So here's an update from Donnie that he wanted to share.
Also, since I won't be in the recording, please let them know that on this week's episode of 911, they do a family barbecue and they're playing tug of war and the rope pulls everyone's fingers off. So then no one's able to dial 911 because nobody has any fingers.
I hate him. Okay. Talk to you later. Love you like a sister. Bye. Thank you for listening to I Am the Cute One. If you want more, head to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne for uncut, unedited, and unhinged video and audio footage of current episodes, as well as even more bonus content.
And if you like what you heard, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and subscribe to our show. And to help us grow this community of chaotic cuties, share an episode with a friend you think would pass the vibe check.
And to see the madness, check out our YouTube channel, where video footage from all current episodes are posted weekly.
You can follow me at Real Donnywood on Instagram and all other social media platforms.
And if you want more of my personal brand of chaos, check me out at Oh No Chels.
Talk to you later. Love you like a sister.